you have to remember that first of all, to start with, the Bolshevik regime was incredibly fragile. I mean, it was widely expected by everywhere, by Russians and everyone else, that it would fall in weeks, if not days. And Lenin and Trotsky themselves were rather amazed that they managed to take power so easily. So their first tactic was to put off any sort of actual military intervention as long as they could. So for the first half of 1918, while they were in talks with the Germans and then actually making peace with the Germans, they buttered up the Allied diplomatic representatives in Petrograd, and then the capital moved to Moscow, as much as they could. And these diplomatic representatives were not the proper ambassadors, because we'd broken off diplomatic relations. We'd have no diplomatic relations with the new regime. So the ambassadors were off in a place called Vologda, which is sort of northeast of Petersburg, and then they decamped up all the way up to Archangel. But we still wanted to keep sort of lines open to the Bolsheviks. So you've got these junior figures, French, American and British, in Petrograd, then Moscow, being chatted up massively by Lenin and Trotsky. They were given lovely, nice sort of, requisition palaces to live in. They were given loads and loads of face time. And the reactions, they, on the whole, they fell for it, to differing degrees. Some were sort of totally bowled over by the sort of glamour and the sort of excitement of, this revolution. And sort of like Jacques Sadoul, the French representative, he actually left French government service and joined the Bolshevik government and became one of their sort of chief propagandists. And then the British representative, a man only in his 30s, called Lockhart, his dispatches home were all along the lines of, the Bolsheviks are here to stay and we should do business with them. And he was himself was not a communist, didn't turn to communism, but he thought that he admired them, and he was a bit starstruck by them. So you've got this sort of phase for a few months where the Allied representatives are hoping that they can persuade the Bolsheviks to actually allow landings of Allied troops, who can help bolster the Eastern Front again, and they can reverse all these, the Bolshevik rapprochement with Germany, and persuade them to start fighting Germany again. And the Bolsheviks are basically terrified of the thought of lots of, hundreds of thousands of Allied troops landing and chucking them out of Moscow and Petrograd. And then that phase ends in the summer of 1918, when you get proper landings of proper numbers of troops in Archangel and Vladivostok. And at that stage, the Bolsheviks arrest lots of the diplomatic representatives. They're finally let go again quite soon afterwards. But from then on, it's war. It's open war, and it's in a way it's a blessing to the Bolsheviks, because the numbers of troops we land are actually rather small. Not enough, as it turned out, to tip the balance. But it's a propaganda gift to them, because they can now present all these alternative governments, even the moderate centre-left ones, as puppets of the imperialist, capitalist West. And there are lots of propaganda posters, red propaganda posters one can look at, where you've got Russia, there are maps of Russia with poor embattled Russia surrounded by sort of an evil sort of Uncle Sam here and an evil sort of British bulldog there, and so on. And I think that did actually make a difference. It did harm the white image that they were backed by the West. I mean, they were seen as Western puppets.